Peace to all my fallen gods and goddesses, man. My friends, family, everybody. You know what I mean? You know, gonna make a little video. I'm about to make another one after this too. You know what I'm saying? Uh, just been thinking of things, talking to people, all this other stuff about, just the state of the world that we in right now and what's going on and why I even do what I do. You know what I'm saying? I just decided to focus on perspective in this video. Perspective. Now, I don't know if you know what perspective is or what it means, but perspective is pretty much how you how you view a situation. You know what I'm saying? Well, not even how you view a situation. That's perception. Perspective is how you can your outlook on a situation. How you can make something big smaller so that you can, what I'm saying, understand the bigger picture. That's what it is. So you can make something large smaller so that you can understand the bigger picture. That's perspective. Okay. So people ask me, well, I talk to people all the time, and you know what I'm saying. They always asking me stuff, and they like to hear me talk. You know what I'm saying. I like to talk about certain things, especially positivity and all that. But a lot of times they be like, man, sometimes you be a little too deep. Like sometimes I ain't feeling that. Sometimes I can't see it like that, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? So because you have probably not put things in perspective. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna try to attempt. Other than all this stuff that I be doing straight freestyle, and you don't see ain't no books. This room is dirty. Ain't no books. Ain't no screen. Ain't none of that. It's all on top of my head because all I do is think. For real, all I do is think. So put this world in perspective real quick. So right now it is what October 22nd, 2015. That's what you're told it is. But in perspective, you know what I'm saying? Is it really 2015? How do you know? Because somebody told you that. You see what I'm saying? You don't know. What you have to understand and what you got to really get in your mind, if you going to really ever free your mind and really understand or really try to be at a higher level of your thought process or even understand life, period, you have to know that you don't know nothing. You don't know a damn thing. I don't know a damn thing. We don't know nothing. We don't. What we think we know is what we have been told. That's programming. That's not knowing anything. All we have been done, all we have done is regurgitated things that someone else has told us. Let me put this in perspective for you. Right now in 2015, the so-called black race is at the bottom of the totem pole in the world. At any country that you in, I don't give a damn if it's Africa. Africans don't own Africa. So-called Africans. You know what I'm saying? The reason I say so-called Africans is because you can't, just because you're on a landmass, you really can't say, hey, everyone on this landmass is African. Because how is that possible? You see what I'm saying? The term African, that the whole term for that landmass was made up by somebody else. You know what I'm saying? It's thousands of different tribes and different types of people on the continent of Africa. And if you want to be real technical, Africa is connected to Europe and Asia. That whole big landmass is one landmass. You could really technically call Africa Southwest Asia in perspective. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the map, and it's all carved up in different colors and different names and all that, but that's perspective. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else put that shit in your head. Somebody else carved that map up. Those lines on that map are imaginary. The names are imaginary. There are no borders. The borders that you pass through on any map are imaginary. When you come from America, from Georgia to Florida, and you see that "Welcome to Florida" sign, that's it. That is it. The lines and all that shit is made up. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, So-called black race all around the world is at the bottom of the totem pole. Anywhere you go, we do not own Africa. You do not own America. You do not own South. You do not own any of the Americas, North or South. You do not own Australia. The Australians was the actual Aborigines in the original. You know what I'm saying? People who was in Australia do not own Australia. They is in the back of Australia. They is the bottom of the totem pole of Australia. You see what I'm saying? Europeans have taken over the world. Do you understand that? It is not a secret. It is not a game. It's not something I made up. Your so-called white people in this country are Europeans. Your so-called South Africans are Europeans. Your so-called Australians are Europeans. Your so-called Europeans are cavemen. Really. Do you see what I'm saying? In perspective, you are living in a world that has been pretty much conquered by your enemy. And they now pick and choose and say what's what, what's right, what's wrong, what's true, what's not true. I mean, do you understand that? Imagine if, let me put it in perspective. Imagine if you've been beefing with somebody, right? And, you know what I'm saying? You and that person beefing, boom, you kill that person, daddy. You kill that person. Let's say you kill that person. That person had children. Okay? You took it responsibility to say, you know what? I'm gonna raise these children, right? As my own. But you have already alternative goals, you know what I'm saying? So you raise those children and you teach them what you want them to know. What you want to know is right, what's wrong. That could be completely, most likely gonna be completely different from what their actual father would have taught them. And teach them that that you they daddy. You know what I'm saying? Teach them that you they daddy. This is right. This is wrong. All this and all that. You know what I'm saying? By the time that child grows up, he does not know his father. He does not know what his father would have taught him. He does not know right or wrong according to his lifestyle. He knows right or wrong according to his father's enemy, the person who killed his father and took them under his wing to raise them as his own, under his doctrine, under his rule, completely opposite of what his father would have done. And then that person then has more children. So the conquered children that was raised by the person who killed their daddy, now they raising their children the same way that their enemy raised them. So about 3, 4 generations after that, you don't know what the hell is going on no more. All you know is some conquered ass fake, you know what I'm saying, ideology mindset that was given to you by your enemy. You know what I'm saying? Your enemy is the one who said it's 2015, October 22nd. Based on what? Based on the notion that Jesus Christ died 2015 years ago. What if you don't believe that? You've been forced to believe that, but what about the people who don't believe in that? Do they have to then be up under this made up time frame? Yeah, because your enemy has taken over the whole world. So they get to choose and say, it's 2015. They get to choose and say, you was a nigga, you're black, you come from Africa, we invented everything. You never invented nothing. You're tripping. Racism is not existent. You know what I'm saying? You're really living in a world where you have to conform to what your enemies say. And it's so crazy because 99% of black people don't even consider themselves as having an enemy. You've been tricked into thinking that you're living life. You're not living life. This life that we live in is not life. You know what I'm saying? You really living under a slave paradigm still. Why do I say that? Put it in perspective. Okay. So what's slavery? Well, slavery, first of all, has nothing to do with color. It has to do with status. You know what I'm saying? A weaker, the weaker, lower part of society is always going to get taken advantage of by the upper class society. That's just how it is. So the lower that you are, the closer you are to slavery. Real talk. At one point, your so-called European was very deep in slavery. Why? Because they came up out of some mountains into Europe, to West Europe, that have no They have no natural resources, no culture, no none of that. So the only thing that they could deal in was themselves, their labor, being slaves. Okay? So now in 2015, because you went to school and somebody painted a picture of what a slave is, it's a black person with who has broken English and is stupid, dumb, and works for free. So now that you think because you don't work for free and you get to go to school and you get to do this, you get to do that, you're no longer a slave. But that's not true, because what is slavery? Slavery is when you have to work and do what you don't want to do just to survive. That's slavery. Now, I don't know how many of y'all just love y'all jobs, but really, most of us don't love to work. Just keep it real. You might like your job, you might like people at your job, but if you had the option to never work again and still be able to live, you would take that. Everybody would. But so you have not been given that option, and you won't be given that option. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a slave. You work just so that you can feed yourself, house yourself, have a little bit of entertainment in between to get your mind off of going to fucking work the next day. You have to pay bills. You have to pay your rent to your rent office that's owned by a management company that's owned by somebody way somewhere else at the top that don't do shit. You have to pay your light bill that's owned by Georgia Power or whoever your power company is that is way somewhere else, and at the tip top of that there's somebody who does not do a damn thing. You have to buy food. Your food is owned by different companies that, like I said, once you trickle it up to the top, whoever owns that company, he don't do a damn thing. And you do it just enough so that you can eat, sleep, shit, and do it all over again for the rest of your life. Do what you don't want to do. I don't know about y'all, but I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day. I do not want to do that shit. But you don't have an option. Why? Because if you don't get up and go to work, you dead out here. You is dead out here. You see what I'm saying? Nobody has the option to just not work and live and pay bills and eat and enjoy life. That ain't no option for you. There's option. Oh, it's an option. That's an option for the people at the top, top, top. But for you and I, that's not an option right now at all. We must do what we don't want to do just so we can live and see our children, you know what I'm saying, basically raised up to do the same thing. Serious. If you don't want to get up and go to work, but you have to in order to live, if you do not work and you will die if you don't work, that's slavery, man. No matter what somebody telling you. Because like I said, you've been programmed with the image of a slave and said, that's a slave. Well, if I ain't that, then I ain't no slave. Nah. That image of slavery that they was giving you was genocide, man. That's just some whole other barbaric BS. That ain't slavery. Slavery is when you have to do what you do not want to do just to survive for somebody else. Put money in their pocket and make them rich and make them successful and make them and their family and their bloodline and they seed carefree. That's slavery. You're not living life. We not living life. See what I'm saying? Think about life. What's life? To be alive and to be living life is two different things. See, to be alive is right now. You breathing. You're aware. You can feel, you can touch. You know that you're here. You're alive. But life is an imitation of being alive. You see what I'm saying? Life is a game. Think about it like the board game. They have a board game called Life. Life is a game. Life is not what you think it is. You see what I'm saying? Why do I say that? Because games have rules. Only a game has rules. Life does not have rules. I mean, to be alive, you don't need rules to be alive. There's rules to a game. In a game, they have rules. For instance, if you go outside of this line, whatever, you'll be some consequences in a game. Like basketball, okay? Basketball, if you make a shot within the key, within the outside the key, then that's 3 points. If you make it within the key, that's 2 points. If you hit somebody, you go to the foul line. If you hit somebody 2 times or too hard, you go sit down. If you do too much, you'll get fined. You know what I'm saying? You have to substitute. You have this. Those are rules, right? What about life? You gotta wake up. You gotta go to work. You have to stop at a red light. Though you can, the red light is nothing but a light. You can literally drive through the red light. But if you drive through the red light, you broke a rule. Now you have a fine. Now you gotta pay. See what I'm saying? Are you driving without a license? Though you can literally operate a vehicle without a physical driver's license, you broke a rule. Why do you think they call life the game? It's all a part of the game. It's all a part of the game. You know how the game go. It's a fucking game. People are playing with you. The money you got is just like Monopoly money. It's pointless. It's fake. It's made up out of nowhere. Has no tangible value. Do you know people make that money? If people make that money, what do those people use? If there's somebody that can just straight make money, then what do they use? What do they deal in? They deal in power. Why? Because they run the game. They make the rules. They tell you what you can and can't do, what you have to do, what you cannot do. You see what I'm saying? You ain't making no rules for yourself. You think you are, but you're not. Let me tell you the difference between a rule, a rule, and a real law. Okay, a real law is uh humans cannot breathe underwater. That is a law. That's a thing. You cannot breathe underwater. Now you could bypass that law and get you some scuba gear, but in general, you cannot breathe underwater. That is a law. If you breathe underwater, you will die. You will fill your lungs with water and you will die. That's a real law. Now, a rule is you can't go swimming in that lake. Why? Because that's a private lake. I can go jump in that water, but then you've broken the rule. Then you've stepped outside of the game and now you got to be punished. Just like when you play spades and you renege. The rule is once you renege, you got to give up 3 books. That's a rule. Because it's a part of a game. The life that you live in is not being alive. You are living a simulation, imitation of life. You think just because you get 8 hours to yourself and you get a little time to go eat and entertain yourself and distract your damn brain, you think you living life. You in a game, man. See what I'm saying? There's somebody else at the top making rules, dealing out fake money, giving you education that's fake and it's lies. Why? It's just enough to make you as average as possible. Just enough to make you average as possible. Just so you can be a good worker and make somebody some money. That's all they want you to be smart enough to do. Smart enough to count on your fingers. Wake up. Learn directions. Feed yourself. Pay bills and do it again. Till you die. See what I'm saying? So the reason why I do this, and the reason why I have dedicated my life and my time on this earth as I'm alive to break those chains on people is because at the end of the day, black people, and this is what I'm talking to. I'm talking to all people, okay? Because all people is experiencing this right now, but I can only really, you know what I'm saying, feel sympathy for my people because my people is at the bottom and we was once at the top. We lost our powers. We lost our power to define. We lost our power of perception. We lost all that. You know what I'm saying? And we allowed other people to take over and tell us who we are, what we worth, what we can and can't do, and gave us images and gave us people to worship and look up to and gave us fake history and gave us fake money and gave us a whole new lifestyle and gave us a whole new paradigm that we've been stuck in. And now we think this is living life. This ain't living life, man. This is garbage. You're a slave right now. Like I said, put it in perspective. It is 2015 because somebody told you it's 2015. How could it possibly be 2015 if they go sit there and tell you that this planet is 4 billion years old? Then how is it 2015? Who went back and said, you know what, today's the day 2,000 years ago. This day we're going to start off and say this is the first day. Who did that? Who decided to rearrange the calendar so that January is the first month and December is the last month? Who decided to do that? Like I had stated before, the first month is March. How do you know that? Because October means 8. Oc means 8. Septi means 7. Deci stands for 10. So with that logic, we're going to count it out. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, that's 7. October, that's 8. November, December is 10. January, February, which is 12. Which would make sense because in actually being alive, you must start from being alive, then die. That's the cycle for this whole dimension that we in. When you plant a seed, it's a seed, and it grows into a tree, then eventually dies. When you in your mama's womb, you grow into a person, then you eventually die. So how would the months be any different? The months must start warm up more till they get to its peak, and then eventually come back down and die. That's the cycle. But like I said, somebody else came in and said, you know what? We're going to get them a Gregorian calendar. We're going to take away all that old stuff that you knew, and we're going to give you what we want you to know. Why? Because we want to control your mind. We want to be able to tell you what's what. We don't want you thinking for yourself. That's dangerous. You know how dangerous that is? To think for yourself. Do you know how people say, like I said, you too deep. Sometimes you get too deep. It's no such thing as too deep. You've been tricked into thinking too deep. The person who made your iPhone, you think your cell phone, you think they was thinking too deep? The person who breaks out of prison, was he thinking too deep? No, he thought as far as he fucking possibly could to get out of his predicament. That's how you supposed to be thinking. Don't slow your mind down. For what? The people who run this world ain't slowing their mind down. They already got your timeline set up already. For sure. Ain't no debating. People, like, I was talking to my mom the other day. She was like, man, why is it that China is more, or I don't think it was my mom, I forgot who it was. It was like, China is so much more advanced than us. They so much more advanced than us. I'm like, they not more advanced than us. They just on a different timeline than us. Whoever's running their timeline gets to give them their stuff much quicker than us. The iPhone 7, 8, 9, 10 is already made. They just pick and choose when they want to give it to you. You see what I'm saying? And they give you a false timeline because it's an imitation of life. It is a game. It'll give you updates like a video game.